Welcome to episode 414 of the DFO Rundown, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary at Bet365, where you can use the promo code NATION, NATION, get in on all the action. You got World Series, Game 6 tonight, maybe a Game 7 on Saturday. We shall see. Both nations, one is rooting for Game 6 big time. The other is rooting for hopefully a Game 7. So we'll see what happens. And of course, full slate of NHL games this weekend, NFL, and more. Get it all at Bet365. I'm Jason Gregor. Well, we welcome in Mike Rupp. No beard Rupper. Looking, you got the mustache on. I was joking, like, is this part of your Halloween costume? You're going as a police officer. Could easily go as a police officer, but no. I hear this is just your annual get rid of the beard, just to clean up the face and remind your wife what you look like.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone asks that, like, "Oh man, is this a tip of your Halloween costume?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah, let's go with that one." But you know, it's funny. We were joking around about it. I don't know what it is this time of year. All the time, like, I'm good all year. I never am one of those guys like, "Oh, my beard makes me itchy." If there was a time to shave it, it would probably be in the summer, right? Because that's when you'd be the hottest. There's just something to this in the fall. I'm like, I just want it off for a little bit. So I just messed around and took it down to the wood. But I should probably have some sort of costume centering around this mustache.
Now, do you ever go like anytime, no beard, no mustache?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not far off of what we got here, but I'm like a completely different human being. And look, I don't like it. I don't like it. I got to have some sort of balance of maybe not balance. Balance would be all bald. I'm saying I got to have some sort of hair somewhere on my face or head. So I feel very naked when I have nothing.
That's fair. I'll do it every now and then. You shave your head, shave your face at the exact same time, and man, it's super smooth. But it's I can wear glasses, so it covers it off. Otherwise, it's kind of like you look like an egg when you're.
It's tough. It's tough, especially in the winter. The winter months too, where you get a little pale. Just now, you know, like there's time to do it. Maybe the summer.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be powder. I don't want to be.
No, that's true.
In the wintertime out here, you know, it's like, oh, where's Gregor? It's in the snow. You can't see him. So, you know what? I don't have to wear my glasses when I do anything like this that's close. I only need him to be far away and stuff. So, but I wear my glasses quite often. I've got like, I don't know, 10 pairs, I think. So I change my eyewear all the time. So it looks better. But I've kind of gotten into, I never had facial hair for years. I didn't like it, but now I kind of prefer it, even though it's got a few mixes of grays in there, but that's life. So we'll see.
It's even better.
Speaking of life, might not be good life for a guy who obviously was on the Four Nations team last year and was in the mix to be on Canada's Olympic team. Rob Brind'amour said after the game last night, doesn't look good for Seth Jarvis. Blocked a shot on one play, and it looked like maybe right off the inside of the foot. And those ones, Rupper, either hand or foot. I'm not sure which one it hit there when you see the replay, but it. Oh no, it's his foot for sure. So you put that off the side of the boot. There's so many bones in your foot that can be a broken, out for a while.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess defining not good or however Rob Brind'amour put it, I would have to assume like this is a wrist shot, and you can certainly I've broken my foot that way, blocking a slap shot. I remember Merrick Malik was winding out for a slap shot, and I kind of turned my feet sideways because I have big feet, so I was figuring I'd cover a lot of holes along the ice there, and I took one, and I think I was 4 to 6 weeks. This is a wrist shot, but these are all, it's how it hits you, and this looks like it hits them right on that, I don't know what you call the bone, the round bone on your inside of your ankle there, if that's your ankle, whatever it is. Mine was more in the foot, so it's hard to really say, but it's a big loss. I mean, Seth Jarvis has been fantastic for them, but I think if we're looking at it as a big picture, this isn't anything I would be concerned with the Olympics on, as far as his opportunity to maybe play for Team Canada again. So, but you look at the numbers, he's been a real bright spot for them. Fortunately for them, Svechnikov has gotten going. That was a guy that was held with no points for a while until the last 2 games. He kind of burst out here. So maybe he could pick up the slack, but that's a big loss for Carolina.
Wow. And you look, they've got a lot of depth and they should be fine, but out of sight, out of mind sometimes can be an issue, right? If you're out 2 months and the evaluators are picking the team and, he'll be back, but Sometimes timing's everything for a lot of things. Now, speaking of timing, were you ever late, Rupper, for team meeting, for anything else?
Yes, I was late before, probably many times actually. All just little things. I remember we would have fines. We would have. I never got sat for a game because of it. Obviously, that's what we're alluding to, what happened with the Islanders yesterday. So I don't know if I have it fully, but it sounds like around the morning skate in Carolina, the bus time was at a certain time. I don't know if that's leaving from the hotel to go to the arena or if that's leaving the arena to go back to the hotel. Whatever it was, Matt Barzal was late to it. And so then we hear yesterday there's a scratch in place there for the game. And I don't know what you think about it. I mean, I understand it. I got no gripe about any of that. I think it's necessary, especially if you want to have that standard and make sure everybody kind of follows protocol. But yeah, I don't know what you think about it, Greg. Is it a big deal or is it not really?
I don't think it's a big deal. I think if you want to set the tone as an organization, and he was late to the skate, yeah, you wouldn't be in trouble, I don't think, leaving the skate, but he was late. He was late to the skate, and that was a problem. So I don't have a problem with it. I know it doesn't look bad because, I mean, some people are like, well, geez, they had to go 11-7 because Cal Ritchie's flight got delayed. But once you make the decision to say he's not playing, I don't think you can go back. Oh, geez, one of our call-ups can't make it, so now you're going to play. I think you just got to stick with your decision.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like you should make sure. I mean, this happens the day of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in Carolina. Your American League team's in Bridgeport. If on the East Coast here is nasty weather the last couple of days, I'm just saying these are things that are known right now of the storms on the East Coast. Like I think you sit there and you got to look internally because there's a conversation that happens there between Patrick Waugh and Matthew Darche for sure of how to handle this. And I got no problem, like I said, with it happening. But you got to make sure that player is able to get to the game in time. And I think that kind of makes the message, you're losing the whole gist of it. Because I think all of a sudden now the players are probably sitting there like, all right, so we're losing our best player for tonight's game. We don't even have a forward to replace that player. We're going 11-7. That 11-7 really throws off the vibe when you're not. You're eliminating guys as forwards as far as what you're going to be getting in the routine. And I don't know. So I just kind of think to myself, I'm like, man, you should have sat there and been like, all right, this is the day of the game. Let's park this. We'll revisit it. They're in Washington tonight to play the Capitals. Maybe it's today. Like, make sure you're in a good situation. Maybe say, hey, Barzy, we're going to talk about this later. We got a game today. Be focused on that. I don't know. There's just something I thought it's not that big of a deal also, but you should have made sure. I don't think that this is the right kind of move for management to just go 11-7 and then you guys get shelled in that game.
Yeah. It is. I guess it all depends. If you've set the tone and said this is what our culture is going to be this year, and if you're late for a skate, you don't play. Once you put it out there and you say this is our culture, you have to abide by it. Otherwise, you're not standing on anything, right? It's like as a parent, that's if I count to 3, that's 1, that's 2.
Sit him tonight, though. Sit him tonight when Richie's flight gets canceled. They got to reroute him to DC. All right, now you got to pay for the misstep there. So I don't know. That's just one. I just think in this, it's management has a job to do, and it's not to make the team weaker on that night. The team's already weaker because of the player decision. So that's what he's got to own inside that room. But now management, your job is to make sure we're not even weaker beyond that. And I think they dropped the ball in that department.
Okay, no, that's fair. Few other things last night in the NHL. Well, yesterday, Martin Necas gets his big contract, $11.5 million. And, I still look and I say, hey, I like Martin Necas, but if you give me Mikko Rantanen, I'm taking Mikko Rantanen. I don't think there's much debate straight up head to head between the two players. And, you go back and you look, and I know, there's lots of talk that Rantanen's contract would have been around similar to that. And even if it's up to 12.5, 13, I still like him better, especially in the playoffs. Yeah. So what do you make of this term and AAV for Martin Necas?
So that point you just made, it's kind of funny because how different the landscape has become since Rantanen signs that deal in Dallas, because the thoughts out there are right around, what was it? He was offered 12 or just over 12, or maybe it was 12 and a half from Colorado is what's on the street. And that was, he wanted more, it sounded like at that time. But if you knew where the market is now, maybe Colorado would have gone more on Rantanen, because the market really changed a lot over the last 6 months or so. But as far as this, I mean, I think you had to get it done. I thought the number was going to be floating upwards to 12, would have been on the high side. I think this is probably a good number. There's still some unproven consistency here in Martin Necas. But you're hoping you get that with him playing with that talent there. But he seems like he's popping right now. But this is, I think this guy could have, just because of the way that some of these pending UFAs are kind of falling off the market here, I think he could have gotten, just like anybody else, you're the unicorn or one of them in free agency. He could have gotten paid probably quite a bit more, but why would you go anywhere else? You got a chance to win. It's a lot of money. A year ago this time, you probably weren't thinking anywhere near this. He's probably thinking at some point maybe 9 is what I'm guessing. You're at 11.5 now. That's pretty incredible. But good order of business, cost certainty, because we know the big one that's coming up here in not too long in Cale Makar. That's going to be a monster contract.
Yeah, like I'm not sold they just could have got more anywhere else. I think Colorado kind of gave him max of what he is. Like, he's a good player in the regular season. And he's got to be somebody, though. Like, he's a half a point player in the playoffs as far as 66 games. It's not like it's a 2-year window for him. So that's, I think, what Colorado will be watching for, because come playoff time, him and Mikko Rantanen historically to this date have not been remotely.
Mikko's one of the best that we have in hockey right now. It's incredible what he's done in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the best all time, no question. But good for Martin Necas. That's big money, and it leaves Artemi Panarin and Mr. Kempe is probably the two best pending UFAs now amongst forwards for this season, to kind of see what happens with them. And speaking of the Rangers, I watched them last night, and their bottom 6 has as many goals as their top 6 right now. Radish had another big goal for them. Yeah. You look at this Ranger offense. Going into the game, I had done it yesterday. They were the only team that didn't have a forward with at least 8 points. And I look at the Rangers, Rupper, and man, like their top 6 just, I know everybody was talking about their bottom 6 and but Radish has played well. Sam Carrick's got really good production for what you'd want from your bottom 6 guys. I want Lafreniere and Zibanejad. I barely noticed in the game, to be honest, or even Panarin. Like, you watch the Rangers a lot more than I do, but their top 6 right now looks lethargic offensively.
Yeah, so I'm going to look right here. So 12 games played now. I would say in 9 of those games played, their best line has been Sam Carrick's line, or some shakeup or whatever the line is in those nights, the Taylor Radish line, wherever he's playing. I mean, lines 3 and 4, that has been their most consistent game flow lines that they have. And that's a real positive to have, but it's also not a great sign, because you need your big guys to be that big guys for you. And that hasn't been the case. I came across a weird number yesterday, and this is where it gets funny, because you and I, we talk analytics sometimes, and there's numbers in the analytics, and I talk to Mike Kelly, Sport Logic, all the time, and I love the way he explains it. He goes, I don't think the certain numbers don't tell you everything. It helps you predict the future in some regards. It gives you a glimpse of what could be trending here. And there's a number I came across yesterday when Lafreniere is on the ice. He's been taking some heat from Ranger fans. When he is on the ice, the expected expected goals for he should have 8. They should have 8 more goals when he's on the ice. So take that for whatever you want. It's not meaning directly him, but when he's on the ice, game flow is going in a positive way for you, and he leads the league individually in expected goals for. That he's not scoring. So I don't know what that is. Is that clutch? Is that just finding a way to bury it? It's just he's getting those looks. Now, in hockey, we're always told if you're getting the looks, eventually it's going to fall. But we're talking 12 games in now. You can date back to parts of last year. Those numbers are great to make you think he's about to burst out of this, or maybe someone in their top 6 is going to get out, but it doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, this is kind of what maybe those looks stop happening. Mika Zibanejad had glorious looks through the first 10 games. He is unable. I mean, he popped a couple there. He's scored some goals, but he should be scoring at a bigger clip. So I don't know. I don't know what you think about it. I look at that and I think, well, if they can keep this up, I see them digging out of this with their top 6. But who's to say that those are going to be guaranteed those opportunities? You had all those looks and you didn't bury them when you could. I'm concerned about them. I really, really am. Will Cooley looks like a shell of himself. He was such a great player we're talking about last year. I just they miss Vinny Trocheck an absolute ton. They're kind of in trouble here, I think.
Yeah, like expected goals are great. It's a formula that it's a formula. It's not reality, and it's great. It's a great guideline to use and say, hey, you know what? Let's watch the video and see over here. Oh, geez, this guy was open and he missed a shot, and normally he's going to make a shot, but guess what? You keep missing your shot, now your confidence goes.
Yeah.
And you know that. But I've seen lots of good play. I've seen some of the best players in the league suffer from confidence for 2 or 3 weeks, and it takes you a while to get it back. Other guys take a long time. And so expected goals, I find some people, the game isn't played on a spreadsheet, and I'll always say that. It's still played on the ice at the end of the day, and we can use them as something. But when you start to tell me, well, this is guaranteed and everything always goes to the mean, no, it doesn't. Yeah. No, it doesn't. Doesn't always go to the mean. How do you know the guy didn't get hurt and now he's got a sore shoulder for the next 3 months and he's playing? But can he shoot the puck the same? Does he have the same velocity? Like, there's so many factors that don't go into it. I just look at, you are who you are. And the Rangers have the second lowest goals per game in the NHL. Full stop. That's who they are. Not 2 games, not 4 games, 12 games. Yeah. They're the only team without a forward who has 8 points. And I watched them last night, and they were not overly threatening for any extended period of time. Their bottom 6, Radish and Carrick, those guys created more continual offense for the Rangers. The Rangers look slow to me. And when I went to NHL Edge, their speed isn't close to anybody else. So that's my wonder, is you're not scoring early when the games that you played, Rupper, the games, the first 10 games of the league are still, a little bit sloppy. They're whatever. Now the games start to get better. And if you're not crisp, guess what? You're not going to have a chance. So I don't know. The Rangers, to me, they don't look very fast at all from the games I've seen from them. And that's a concern for me.
To your point, though, confidence is everything. So if you're getting the looks and you're not burying them, I think you're trying to psych yourself up being like, I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's the right way to look at it. But you're also, like I said, there's no guarantee those are the same types of looks are coming. But what happens if you bury a few of those? Like when you start even look at Utah, for example. Their forwards that they got going there, their top 6, they're clicking. They're rolling right now. Now, I don't know how sustainable it is. I think a couple of them have like 25% shooting percentages, and that is an absolute high in their career. That's going to come back a little bit, but what they've garnered through this stretch is confidence. Now we're watching Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, JJ Peterka, Nick Schmaltz. These guys are feeling it, man. So I'm not saying they're going to be clicking at that rate, but they might be playing the game with a whole new swagger. And to your point, it's the opposite for the New York Rangers. So all of a sudden, if those looks that maybe Lafreniere is getting or Zibanejad is getting go away, how is he going to get out of it when he hasn't gotten that boost of his confidence? I am concerned. They started off defending really, really well through their losses early on. Now that's slipping a little bit. So they've got to find a way to get out of this. It looks kind of bleak right now, to be honest.
Yeah, like they had a huge comeback win for them in Edmonton, though. I'll say that. They're down 3-1, and they fought their way back in, and it really kind of changed when the Oilers power play gave up consecutive 2-on-1s, and then they just never got momentum. And, the Rangers penalty kill came up huge in that game. Killed off a late power play that extended into overtime. And then JT Miller gets the win. JT Miller's always pretty honest. He's talking about how important Radish is scoring goals for him goes, because I haven't been scoring. And, maybe that overtime goal gets him going because it was much needed. But the one guy that surprises me is like, man, I remember Zibanejad in the playoffs 2 years ago. Not Zibanejad, Lafreniere. And I'm like, ooh, this guy's going to become a warrior. And I don't know what's going on with him, but he just doesn't look like the same player right now.
Yeah, I don't know what to, because I thought the same thing, think the same thing, but I'm trying to juggle the eye test. That's what the hockey is now. We've got the analytics and we've got the eye test, and we try to merge those two things together. The eye test is telling me I need more, I want more, we should be getting more because we've seen him do more in the past. The analytics are showing he's doing a lot out there. So I don't know. I don't know which way this goes, but maybe it is just getting a bounce or so. But you're right. When he is at his best, and we've seen him in the playoffs at different times, we've seen him a couple different times in the playoffs. When he hits, I've been in at Madison Square Garden when he's getting in there on the forecheck. The board, It sounds different. Greg's like he's got some oomph behind him. He's strong. He plays a strong game. I don't know, and I don't want to make it about that because he got paid and then it kind of changed for him. It's just I find that don't change. You're a bull. Like when he's a bull, he's hard to handle and he's got offensive flair. That's what's made him a first overall pick. I feel like now it's a little too perimeter. It's a little too looking for pretty plays. Get some ugly plays. Every player wants some ugly goals and see what that could do for you. But he's a big piece for the Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, he is. He's got to get going. It's just that simple. Like for any team, your better guys have to be your better players, no question. Speaking of guys who are important to their team, new guy and a new team, but Trevor Zegras, best play he's had in quite some time. 12 points in 10 games, including 4 goals and 7 points in his last 3 games. Penguin fans don't like him, so the Flyer fans are probably liking him even more. And please don't call that a brawl. That was like a pillow fight. There was no punches thrown. The word brawl is a brawl. That's not a brawl, and that's fine. But let's just not call it a brawl. But Trevor Zegras, man, Rupper, he's looking good right now in Philadelphia. A change of scenery has done him very well, and the Flyers have won 5 of 6.
Yeah, so we just got done talking about confidence and maybe some swagger. And when I think of Trevor Zegras, I think back to Team USA World Juniors. And I still remember working NHL Network, and when he had his walk-in, how confident and really arrogant he was going against Canada. And Team USA wins. I remember thinking to myself, this guy's different, man. He's got a little edge to him. He's got this. And we've seen it, flashes of it in Anaheim. But I think that's all starting to come together, and he's starting to do that more. You mentioned about the brawl against the Penguins the other day. Trevor Zegras, now I would be ticked if I was a Pittsburgh Penguin or a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, kind of his antics at the end of the game, but maybe that's the swagger he needs. He's got to have a little bit of that in his game because offensively he looks fantastic, setting up plays. He's had a couple plays this year, a couple assists, primary assists where he's taken hits to make the play and making beautiful passes. We've never questioned his talent. It's about putting it all together and maybe not be too, I don't want to say showy, but play the game and play it hard. And he's doing that. So I think he's become a quick fan favorite there in Philly. And this is exactly why Philly went after him. They needed a player like this, and he needed a fresh start. So far, so good. I mean, Greg's, I think he's been very, very impressive as a Flyer.
Yeah, he's looked exceptional, really, and been carrying them the last few games. And I remember when he actually, in the game, bet Leon Draisaitl $100 on a faceoff win.
Yeah.
And he lost the faceoff, and he was like a rookie. And I remember Draisaitl being like, what the hell's going on here? And so he definitely has some swagger. He adds a little fun to the game, which I think at times in NHL circles is much needed, right? People call it cocky, and I'm like, hey, you know what? It's confidence and have a little fun. My God, it's a sport. Okay. You're not curing cancer here. You're playing hockey. And I do think at times that hockey players probably take themselves a tad too serious.
Yeah. And it's a great point. This is why I think it's going to work for him because he acknowledged it in his post game the other day, or one of his interviews, just basically said, Philadelphia is a huge sports town. I don't want to embarrass myself coming here. So he already has this understanding. It's hard. It's hard to play professional sports in Philly, and he wants to, and he knows what endears the fans, and it's just playing blue collar, lunch pail type hockey. And he's doing those things, but he's got elite skill. The other thing, Rick Tocchet is the perfect coach for him. And because Toc wants personality, he wants the players to use that to their advantage, to be comfortable out there, be confident on the ice. I think too many times, and what you just said before you kicked it over to me was like, in hockey, I feel like in the past it was, this is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to be. At the end of the day, all I care about is that you play the game the right way. Be however you want to be, whatever's going to give you an edge, and come to the rink and be a difference maker. And Trevor Zegras has that, dating back to what I said before. He is a gamer. He likes to go against the grain, lean into that. I think Rick Tocchet is the perfect coach to get that out of him.
And no surprise, the coach has rewarded him. He's playing up almost 19 minutes the last few games. He's been averaging 17 on the season, and that's because, that's up here the last few games. So he's starting to play better. He's starting to feel it. And you see the minutes come up, and, you should want your guys who are making plays on the ice more. And if he's around 19 minutes, he's not a penalty killer. So, that makes sense for them. And the Flyers, Dvorak, I think, has come in and been exactly what they wanted. So those two acquisitions in the offseason so far are paying dividends for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I really loved down the stretch last year. Their, whatever you want to phrase it, I think it's generally their third line, but that's the Forrester, Brink, and Cates line. They've had this great chemistry. They've kind of all around the same age. They're kind of growing up together in Philadelphia. They've got that in place. I've been a big Travis Konechny guy over the years. Sean Couturier looks to be healthy again this year. They can surprise some people. I think the biggest thing for the Flyers is getting proper goaltending. And I think Ladar's helped out in a lot of ways. And I think Ersson's got to continually be better. They could be dangerous in a Metro division that I think has surprised a lot of people. I've been shocked at how competitive the Metro has been. I still think it's kind of available. And the Flyers, we'll see if they could take advantage. But you're going to probably run Vladar when you look at those numbers as much as you can. They've got an opportunity to surprise some teams this year.
Now, I want to go to a player upper. I'm going to give you, and I'm going to give our audience, I'm going to give you 7 numbers because this connects 7 players. Here's the numbers: 1, 3, 4, 11, 13, 23, and 54. Any idea what those numbers stand for? From 1 to 54.
No idea.
Okay.
What was that?
So those are the NHL's, currently there's a 7-way tie for goals in the NHL. And those numbers I listed off, 1, 3, 4, 11, 13, 23, 54. Those are the number of hits by the 7 goal scorer. Jack Hughes, 1 hit. Scheifele, 3 hits. Dorothea, 4 hits. McKinnon, 11 hits. Cole Caulfield, 13 hits. Morgan Geekie, 23. And then Kiefer freaking Sherwood, 54. They all have 9 goals so far this season. And, Sherwood last year led the league, broke the NHL record for goals. He had a hat trick last night in St. Louis. This guy's making $1.5 million. He's a pending UFA. And when you lead the league in hits the way he did, he's running around. Now he's got 9 goals. Now I know he's got a ridiculous shooting percentage, and someone's going to be like, hey, shooting percentage is going to come down. Thanks, Tips. Of course I know his shooting percentage is going to come down. But it's amazing to me. Here's a guy who's physical. He's in the game, tied for the league lead in hits. And by it's one of these things doesn't belong, right? Because even if you look at the guys like Draisaitl, Eichel, Larkin, who have 8 goals, those guys' hits are 7, 11, whatever. But there's Kiefer Sherwood, and that guy's a fan favorite. He's going to get paid because he's not going to get paid on his goal scoring, although it's going to help for sure. But when you have the goal scoring and you have the physicality, Rupper, that's a dream. Teams are looking for guys who have a unique edge. And right now, Kiefer Sherwood, who, if you go back to his time in Nashville, people be like, geez, I never thought he'd be this. He came to Vancouver and he's been unreal. And now he is going to cash in big.
Yes, he will, because there's no one like him. And I think that's the point you're making. And when you sit there and you speak about, when you came up with those numbers, I had no idea where you're going. And then when you told me, I love it, because this reminds me of last year. I came across this stat last year, and you may have seen it as well. Jesper Bratt for the New Jersey Devils was the only player in the National Hockey League with 80 or more hits and 80 or more points. Okay. So the point being, you don't look at Jesper Bratt and be like, oh, that guy's a banger. It's just showing that high-end guys that get a lot of points don't generally throw the body around. And 80 hits, quite frankly, isn't a ton, but it is for that type of player. But to your point here, Kiefer Sherwood has 54. He'll be past 80 in a few more games. And my point with that is to lead the league or be tied with that in goal scoring right now. Again, not going to continually last. He's not. I don't think he's going to finish the year with 60 goals. But the point is, he can play anywhere in your lineup. He's going to provide a spark, going to provide energy. He's going to finish every check out there. And guess what? He's shown he can score goals. So if you need him to bump up and play in certain areas, maybe your top line's not doing well. Maybe you need to get in there on the forecheck. Throw him up there. Or whether it's in Vancouver or somewhere else, and he's going to be getting paid because he's gonna. It's like an instant fire starter that you have on your roster. You can put him anywhere you want, and at the end of the day, worst case scenario, you put him on your fourth line. He leads the league in hits, and he's showing that he could probably pot double-digit goals. Like that. That's the worst case scenario. Not many guys can do that in today's NHL. He will get paid. I love watching him play. There's that clip, I think that was making its rounds the other day of him. I think when they were playing against Montreal, he was mouthing off. I think he was telling Slavkovsky he's going to knock him out of the Olympics. So I like that. He's a little bit of a throwback. You need edgy guys, but nine goals right now. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's unreal. 9 goals, 54 hits. And like I said, just for fun to add to it, because those 6 guys don't hit. Yeah, well, the next 4 guys who have 8 goals, Draisaitl, 7 hits, Larkin, 5 hits, Pinto, 8 hits, Cooley, 10 hits. So that's like Morgan Geekie is looking like he's got 23. He's almost double even the third guy, which is Cole Caulfield at 13. So you're right. Like those guys, they don't play that way. That's fine. Now in the playoffs, they'll do it a bit more. But if Kiefer Sherwood even scores 30 goals, Rupper, right? Or 25, and you're that physical, my God, you are, well, first of all, now you're a legit second liner because of your offense. Mm-hmm. And your physicality just puts you in a very unique category that this guy can change momentum of a game, both physically and through goal scoring. And not a lot of guys can do that in the NHL.
No, I mean, look at the way we've talked about Tom Wilson in his career. The most important thing, I think, for any hockey player, and it's hard to be so unique. That's what makes something unique, is that not everybody else is doing it. But you want to try to find something that separates you from the pack. And I don't know, I'd love to get inside his mind. When did that kind of change for Kiefer Sherwood? He's always been that type of player, but not to this level. So, but when you establish that, now you kind of create this own place in the market for yourself. Because every agent you ever speak to, when you're going into free agency or you're talking contracts, it's about comps. Who's your comp? We're going to put together your comps, see where the market is for the comp. Well, when there's no comps for you or very limited comps, guess what? You get paid because you're providing a service that no one else can provide. That's what Kiefer Sherwood is doing.
Yeah. So, and it's a guy to watch, man. I'm telling you, because
he's fun to watch.
And if you're the Vancouver Canucks, like they get into a real predicament here that, like, God, do we want to let this guy go? No. But if he doesn't have a contract by February, or late February, coming out of the Olympic break, now you got to think, oh, God, we got the trade deadline coming up March 6th here. I'm telling you, the lineup for teams to acquire Kiefer Sherwood would be very long. First of all, his cap hit is unreal, right? So for this year in the playoff, it's unreal. Right, he's even at half with the new rule, whatever. He's only at most a 750 cap hit or whatever number you need. Like they could get a lot for him, but do they want to just keep losing guys if you want to keep Quinn Hughes? Right, so that's the challenge, because I just don't see how Vancouver can afford to lose him. They need more guys like Kiefer Sherwood.
I agree, and just being hard to play against, man. That's you've got to be that. If you got to have players like that if you want to win in the National Hockey League consistently, and he is one of those that's difficult to play against. So it'll be an intriguing story to continually follow, because if he can keep up, honestly, even if he trails off, not at this pace, to your point, 25, 30 goals and have, well, how many hits did he have last year? Do you have 400 hits or 500?
Yeah, 400.
There's something stupid. So I mean, he does that. It's going to be fun to see what ends up happening in his future.
I do want to get to a team that's struggling, Rupper. And one stat that stands out, the Minnesota Wild are 3-6-3. They obviously expected better things. Their penalty kill is 60%. And here's the scary part if you're a Wild fan. They've had the fewest times shorthanded in the NHL. And they've played 12 games. They've only been shorthanded 25 times. They're basically taking 2 penalties a game, and they're only killing it off 60%. They've allowed 10 goals on 25 kills. And they've got a really good power play, but it negates itself. Their power play is 29%. And their power play, they've scored 14 goals, but their penalty kill is so bad. Like it's the most Jekyll and Hyde special teams team I've seen. I can't believe it. Like, it's like they give it and they take it right away with their power play and their penalty kill.
So I think the first thing is that phrase, or that what we've always heard about penalty kills, as far as your goalie is your best penalty killer. As much as I hate hearing that, it's very true. It's very true. Their goaltending has not been great. So I think that's one thing. Now, that doesn't mean that it's all the goaltender's fault. When you look at their penalty killing units, like, there's pros there. Like, Eriksson Ek is one of the best two-way guys in the National Hockey League, in my opinion. Ryan Hartman, like, this is what he does in his career. You start looking at some of the pieces that they have. I just can't wrap my mind around why this is happening to them. And it's not just through 12 games. Greg, this is like year 3 of them being bottom of the National Hockey League. So when you're coming into a season, and every coach across the board will tell you, I would rather a good, it doesn't even have to be great, a good penalty kill over a good power play. That wins you games, that wins you playoff series. That is that one Achilles heel for them over the last few years. I just can't figure out why it can't get better. And to your point, they're taking less penalties. So the knee-jerk reaction if someone was to tell you, hey, they're really bad at killing penalties, they're worse than the NHL, I'd be a smart ass and say, well, stop taking so many penalties. They're not. Yeah. They're barely taking any. They took one last night. Goal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I'm not trying to poke fun, because they're trying to figure it out, but it's almost hard to be at the percentage that they've been the last 3 years. They've got to figure that out amongst a lot of other things. I am very concerned with the Minnesota Wild this year. They're kind of creating a hole for themselves.
Well, the hole is bigger because of the play of Utah early on, right? Like, St. Louis is off to a bad start, similar to Minnesota. And you're like, okay, if that's who we're battling with, like, hey, Chicago and Nashville, does anybody really think they're going to be there? No, Nashville can't score to save their life. And Chicago's off to an okay start, but they're not a competitor. So you look and say, okay, well, that's who we're competing with. And, Calgary's off to a terrible start as well. And so who are we battling for in the wild card? Well, it's Utah for sure. And they're way ahead of you already. And then you look at, Vancouver and Anaheim, who a lot of people thought were on the upswing this year. So Minnesota's got to turn it around quick. Otherwise, they're going to have an unreal final, 65 games to get in. And that's the challenge. Like, you can't win the cup early in the season, Rupper, but you can lose it by having a slow start and not getting in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. And this is a team that, when you look at them and the way they've been built, and remember last year, I can't pick it off the top of my head, but how many games in would you say, Greg's, where the Wild were one of the top teams in the league? I mean, was it 30 games in? It was. Yeah. They had a good stretch where they were elite, and they had a very good year. It kind of was fumbling towards the end, and that's how they didn't look good down the stretch, but they had a good portion of last season being elite. And the way that they are good or elite is details. They don't have any of those details right now. They defend well. They're not defending that great. I mean, they're not the old Minnesota Wild where it's just lock it down, don't score goals. They have the best power play in the NHL. They show that they could score goals. They know how to score goals. They have had a hard time 5-on-5 at the beginning of this season. The penalty kill, the details, defending, the goaltending, like, everything seems out of sorts right now. So I don't know where you start, but probably the PK. If you lock that down a little bit, can you imagine just getting like 4 or 5 games of having perfect penalty killing? At least feels like you're starting to dig your way out of it.
Yeah. Wow. But it's a wild stat, man, to see their penalty kill that bad, despite not taking any penalties. Like, they're the most disciplined team in the NHL when it comes to not taking penalties, but they're the worst team when they get on the penalty kill. Like, I'd have to go.
Maybe they need more practice. Maybe they need more practice. Not just
coach,
not in practice.
I just take it
in game.
Penalty?
In game practice. You know what, dude? Just run around, take some penalties. We'll get some reps in. But I don't know. It's 3 years running now.
Yeah, it's wild. Let's bring in Pat Puff to the pod. Pat, how are you, my man?
I am doing great. Thanks, Greg's. Fill in the blanks. Brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Get in on the game. Use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 or older. Let's take a look at the bottom of the standings here. Which team are you most concerned about, blank, and which team will be fine, blank? Greg's.
Oh, Tima, that's a really good question, man. You look at that. Like, just look at some of those four goals against totals. Well, I guess if I had a team that I think will be fine, I'm going to go with the low hanging fruit, but it's the Florida Panthers, right? Like Marchand's doing a very honorable thing right now, helping out one of his trainer and his good friend in an awful time through a grieving of death. So I would say the Panthers will be, I think, fine. Teams that I think that's who they are. Like the Flames, to me, they just can't score. I don't think they're going to really fight for something. And you know what? I don't like how the St. Louis Blues have looked at all. So I'm going to go with the Blues.
Oh man, that's tough. Because honestly, the one that I think will be fine is the one you said. So I want to try to give something different. But just know that's the one I'm thinking about. The next one that jumps up is Toronto, and I am concerned about them. I don't know if they're going to be okay. I think that they should be the team that should be okay, but I don't love what I'm seeing from them either. So I'll say they'll be okay, though, because I think they'll figure out a way to get through this and start really finding who they are. The team I'm really concerned has got to be this. We just talked about the Wild, but I'll probably say the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, we're going over their last number of games. I just don't. Their lack of game management right now it's crazy. And that's a team that usually has that. And they've got a lot of veteran guys. I know they're working in some young guys, but you remember that 4-0 lead that they had halfway through the game that they ended up losing 6-4 against the Detroit Red Wings. And I'm thinking, all right, then next game, they're going to be on point, ready to go because of what happened against Detroit. They play against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh scores twice in the first minute of the game. So they weren't ready to start that game. They lead the National Hockey League with 11 consecutive goal bursts for the other team, basically with under 3 minutes between the goals. And we expanded that to 3 minutes because they have probably 5 or 6 times where there's 2 consecutive goals by the opponent in like a minute. So you need times, you need saves, you need a shift. They aren't having that. They don't look like themselves.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a couple teams on here you guys mentioned that you can look at their season last year and go, well, they have the pieces there. They'll be fine. But one team I think is a little underrated that we don't talk about as far as concern is the Predators, because last year, obviously not a good showing. And we thought, I will give them another year. Maybe something can come around, build some chemistry, but they're still down here. So there's a little concern there for me. I'm going to keep this up because I feel like your answer might be on here, but maybe it's not. Greg's, which goalie most likely to be moved at the deadline? Because Buffalo right now feels like a goalie graveyard or a magnet, I guess, if you will. But I wonder about some of the teams falling in the standings from last year. We heard Binnington's name a ton, Merzlikins. I'm just wondering if anyone's starting to shake loose, in your opinion.
Yeah, goalie trades are rare. You rarely get what you think you're going to get in return for them. So, like St. Louis, man, the way Joel Holfer's playing, how could you even think about trading Binnington? Like they don't have any option to go in return unless you're trading him for a younger goalie where you think, hey, you know what, we'll make this deal and move on. It's a good question because I'm not sure I see one that's like an obvious where I would look at that list and say, okay, their goalie on that team, like Saros isn't getting dealt. Minnesota, no. Calgary's obviously not trading Wolf. Askarov. I know everybody always talks about the Islanders and Sorokin, but the Islanders, I feel like with Schaefer and stuff, they got young guys coming. They would be absolutely moronic to trade the one piece that they have in their goaltender. So not sure like I necessarily see one here on this list. I guess if I had to pick, Binnington would be that guy, because I think a lot of people thought, hey, maybe Joe Hofer is ready. He's going to take more of a role, but he has not been good at all. Blues fans like, are you kidding me? This guy can't even be our American League goalie right now. So honestly, today, I'm not sure I see one, because like if you're the Blues felt like they were taking a step. They brought in their new head coach last year and he made a big change. And you know what? They had Broberg and Holloway and like a lot of things clicked for them. Robert Thomas, after Four Nations, he led the league in scoring, for goodness sakes. Yeah. 40 points after Four Nations. And like nothing has gone right for the Blues. Now, they've been in organizations, had exceptional final 50 games here to get to the playoffs before. And, think about it. They were literally a second or two away from beating Winnipeg last year. And now they look awful. So I don't know if trading Binnington's even an option, but I guess if I had to pick, I'd go with him.
So of the ones on here, and I agree. If I don't know if it is an option because Hofer's been really struggling, but if I'm going off the teams that are on the screen here, and I'm going to go to one off the screen, I'm thinking potentially Jonas Korpisalo in Boston. So he's got a few more years left. I think at like $3 million. We always hear Corpy's name coming up. We've seen him moved a couple times. I just don't think the Boston Bruins want to have 11.2 in goaltenders. I don't know. If Swayman could just get fully back to Jeremy Swayman, and I don't know what to make of the team. I think maybe that's an option for them. But the one I'm going to go off the board is to Pittsburgh. Yeah, Tristan Jarry's looked really, really good. Him and Arthur Shelovs have been fantastic. And Pittsburgh, I think, has secretly been waiting for Tristan Jarry to look better for a few years now. I think they would be open to moving him. I know that they look incredible right now, or whatever their record is. Are they 8-2-2 or whatever the Pens are? I don't expect that to last. And if it does not, maybe as long as Tristan Jarry's game's back on track, you can maybe get out from under that contract a little bit.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Sell him while he's hot. I guess the last one I have for you, and it's just a general statement, but one word to describe this season so far. I mean, Pittsburgh leading the league, leading the Metro. The Wild, the Lightning can't seem to get anything going. The Bruins currently ahead of the Panthers in the Atlantic. I didn't think we'd be saying that at Halloween. So just in general, Mike, this season so far is blank.
This season is, I know the theme I want to go. I can't think of the word. I'm going to say this season is, you know what? I'm going to say surprising. And that's not a very creative word there, but I'm very surprised at some of these teams. And I don't want to just label them it's early, because it is. I do think it is early. But these are some teams that it's impressive what they're doing. And you can't ignore that, because as much as we want to say it's early for some teams and maybe take it back from them from being a positive thing, I think too easily I say that about teams that I expect to be good that aren't. So because Greg said it, I think it's the perfect thing that we always hear. You can't win the cup now, but you can lose the opportunity to play for it. And when you look at some of these teams that are going off on this run to start the season, like there's some teams that are starting to flirt in that category where you go another 2 weeks of playing the way you are, you may have banked enough points. You're in the conversation. Like if the Pittsburgh Penguins play this level of hockey winning percentage for 3 more weeks, they could go 500 the rest of the year. They're in the conversation. They might make the playoffs. So, I've been very surprised at some of these squads.
I am going to say parity. Look across the league. Like there's so much, there's not much gap. There's like, the Calgary Flames, they're a little way. They're 7 points out of the playoffs right now. Okay. But, San Jose Blues are 5, but there's a lot. Like you look in the Eastern Conference outside of the Islanders, it's 1 point between 8th and 15th. So I'm going to say so far this is parity. is the word of the month in October.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Weird is probably just where I was going. It's just been weird so far. Honestly, hard to bet on just because teams are winning that I would never expect, and it's just been weird for me. So I'll leave it there. But that is Fill in the Blanks, brought to you by Bet365. Happy Halloween, guys.
Yes, happy Halloween to all the kids. Now, we do have to talk about, I see the jersey in the background, your Maryland Lemieux jersey, the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's Halloween, October 31st, at least in the morning when we're recording this. And the Penguins are first in the NHL, Mike Rupp. Sidney Crosby and Jenny Malkin are playing unreal for that team. They've got 6 forwards already with 8 points, tied for most in the NHL. They've been the biggest surprise. There's no question about it. We were all talking, hey, are they going to move some guys during the season? And I don't know if the Penguins will actually be a buyer at the deadline and how long will they last at the top. But, it's 2 weeks ago, it was like, it's 2 weeks. They'll come back. Now it's almost a month into the season. They got 18 points. They're 8-2-2. They got a goal differential. They're plus now I got to go. I don't like to go on the NHL stats page. It's ridiculous why they don't have it proper. But nonetheless, you look at the Penguins and they are plus 15. They've scored 44 goals. Yeah. They've allowed 29. It's the best in the NHL. Are they for real?
That's a loaded one. What define for real? Define for real.
Are they a legit playoff contender in your eyes now?
I think now they are. Yeah. I think they are now. And I don't want to. I want to be specific on that because I don't want to be disrespectful for what they're doing. Because we talk about this for players. If you start gaining confidence and coming together as a group, what does it matter what we thought you were on paper or what you did last year? It's what you're doing right now. And we can sit there and say, all those, it's not sustainable because of X, Y, and Z. Well, what is sustainable? Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, like the core guys, they're playing pretty good hockey right now. And when you've got Crosby and Malkin, Sid had 90 points last year. So this is not a surprise that he's playing at a high level. Gino, on the other hand, he's had some really great starts each season of the last 3, but it probably hasn't lasted this long into it. He's got that ability and that fire. And when you have great players, we have all-time greats that have been questioned. I always wonder what they're going to do with that. And they can take it to a level that seems nostalgic. They seem like they're doing it, but we're seeing Justin Barzal scoring goals. Anthony Mantha, this is the best Anthony Mantha I've ever seen. And so they're getting some contributions from throughout, and they're getting good goaltending. They're a team that is in the mix here, and they're almost getting to the point where I just said, if they continue this for a few more weeks, like they could just be okay the rest of the year, and they're going to be in that conversation. So I love what we're seeing. I don't know if this is all part of the master plan in Pittsburgh, but that's what happens when you have all-time greats that get a little pissed off and they want to prove something. They're leading in a big way.
Yeah, well, they are playing great. There's no question about it. And they've already given themselves a 6-point bulge, although they have played 2 extra games. So that probably has to factor into it a little bit. Columbus currently has 12 points in 10 games. So they have their number 9 seed, while the Penguins have 18 points in 12 games. And you got to give them a shout out because I don't think nobody, I don't care, the most diehard Penguins fan would have said, hey, end of the October, Penguins will be in first place. No chance. Nobody. No one would have thought it. So it is a nice surprise if you are a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. No question about it. Rupper, before we go, what was the favorite Halloween costume you've ever worn?
Favorite one I ever worn? It's a good one, man. I remember. Yeah, you know what? This is probably going to date me. Do any parents make costumes anymore? Is that dating? Yeah. Do they? I love that stuff. And so I'm going to go a little feel good one for back when my mom was making us costumes, my sister and I, and she put together, it was pretty cool because I wouldn't, and Mom, if you're listening, don't take this the wrong way. I don't overly consider my mom like overly creative with stuff like that. but she certainly was at Halloween time. She made me, when I was a little kid, she made me a robot costume. And I don't know where she got kind of like this metallic kind of material from, but she made it like nice and round. And I had these sleeves that I would put it through, and it looked like the sheet metal, but it was just like, I don't know, like a pleathery silver. My way of pictures of that was probably one of my all-time favorites. Because when you get older, you're like, wow, my mom really took a lot of time to do this. She did it probably to save money. But I know as a non-creative parent that can't make anything, that was pretty special. So that was probably my favorite one.
Well, that's just how it was back then, right? That generation grew up. You made everything, right? It wasn't like, go to the store. It wasn't like the big Halloween stores. I have two for different reasons. One, and I didn't like it at first, but it turned out to be a great costume. So, because my birthday's October 23rd. So I was, used to have hall parties. And so when I was playing on my junior hockey team, we had a hall party there was a big Halloween hall party on the 26th. And I was supposed to go with Blues Brothers, very lame costume, pretty simple. Me and another teammate be the Blues Brothers. And we show up at the house party, and the boys know it's my birthday. And they're like, yeah, Greg's, we got a Halloween costume for you. I'm like, no, I'm Blues Brothers. I'm good. Like, I have a suit and a hat. Like, it's pretty lame, right? And they're like, no, we got a costume for you. You're wearing it for your birthday. I was like, young guy rookie. Wasn't. So to me, I look at that like that was a fun thing. It was a Daisy Duck costume. And dude, it was like minus 20 in that October. And so we had to walk to the hall party. And so I have like white leotards on, and you have like, how the duck has just a little, like, it's like a little tutu thing, right? Like, dude, I could not believe how cold I was walking that. I got to the hall party, and I'm freezing. I'm just like, God, I look like such a tool. I hate this. Well, I'm in that party for 20 minutes, and every girl in that place is like, oh my God, how are you? And they just loved it. And they're all commenting on my legs, because the boys think I have bad legs, but I have really good legs if you're a girl. Like, they're really long and lean. So that was like probably the most I've ever got hit on in my life was wearing that Daisy Duck costume. So that would that'd be one. But then my mother-in-law, you talk about making costumes. She made my wife and I a king and queen costume. I think I'm going to wear it on my show today. And I'm telling you, Rupper, like, the coat is no joke. Like, I went to a house party, I take the coat off. It's so thick and it's so heavy, but it's all intricate. Like, you got I've got a hat, I've got the leggings, everything. Like, it's a king outfit from like early 1900s. Maybe even 1800s. Like, it's phenomenal. She sewed it all by herself, and it's awesome. Like, I still have that, man. That's the greatest Like, I don't have the Daisy Duck one because it was a boring one, but it was that King's costume.
I got to see that one. I got to see that. No,
I'll put it on there.
I'll
show you. I'll wear it today. I'll stand up at my show. I was going to wear it this morning, but I was too lazy, to be honest. It takes a while to get the whole thing on, but that is like legit costume. You look like totally from that era, and she did it all. Like, she sewed it all. So shout out to Cheryl, great mother-in-law.
Yes, that's big time. So, big time.
Yeah, no, it is big time. So, it's funny. My son doesn't really love Halloween, which is totally fine, but he's actually not going trick-or-treating tonight because he wants to watch the Jays game. He doesn't love candy. So so he's like, Dad, I don't think I'm going trick-or-treating. And he said this 2 weeks ago, but once he knew it was game 6, he's like, Dad, I'm not going trick-or-treating.
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to throw. Is that going to throw a wrench into trick or treating across Canada tonight, or no?
Well, not. I don't think in the East, because the game doesn't start till 8, so you can go trick or treating from 6 to 8. Right? Like like Mountain Standard Time, I will say, is the best time zone to live in for sports, because when you get to the championships, all the games start at 6:00. Right? It's never too late. Right. Like, even that marathon game, I was still done at 1:00 my time instead of 3 or 4, depending on where you are in Atlantic time zone or Eastern time zone. And it never starts too early, right? Like, you're in the Pacific time zone. Yeah. Championship games start at 5:00. It's a weekday game. You don't get off work. It sucks. So Mountain time zone is the best time zone for sports. I will say that. And so I think, it might impact some kids, but like, I know if I'm a 10 or 11-year-old, I would tell my son, I'll just PBR the game. I can wait. I'll hand out candy. We can start the game at 7:30 or 8:00, but and you won't know. But so I think for like some parents, they'll be walking around with their phone, watching the game. So,
100%,
they'll be like, honey, if you're not or who's ever, whether it's the husband or wife who's not a sports fan, they'll be taking the kids trick or treating. And the sports fans like, I'm staying home to watch the game.
Oh, you got to. Yeah. Once in a lifetime.
100%, man. Like, it's for fans of a team. You don't know when your team gets back in a championship. No. You don't. right? Like, you go, or never mind, win it. And the Jays haven't won since 93, and they haven't been in it since 93. So, well, we'll see. It's a big one for them. And it's a great game, man. That series has been wild. But Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers, whew, that guy's pretty sick. But how about Trey Savage? I wanted to ask you, like, you see a rookie in like big time performances. That's like Patrick Waugh-like for the Canadians.
It doesn't just, those types of moments in sports make me feel like it's their time, right? Like when things like that happen, it's just kind of like, oh, it's been written already. I don't know. That's at least what it feels like to me.
Yeah. Like first guy ever, 12 strikeouts, no walks. First rookie with, 12 strikeouts. Like it was a crazy performance. So should be fun, man. And then, we'll see the NHL, obviously we're getting to that point now. We're like 3 weeks away from kind of the cutoff for some teams. And I think Minnesota and St. Louis are probably the two teams that have the most concern right now, right? Like Toronto's teetering on it, right? But they're still only 1 point out of 8th place in the East, but they're a 500 team. So they're okay, right? They're getting goalie back Wall, so that maybe should help them. But you look at them, they lost Mitch Marner. But just look at their goaltending numbers. Like it's completely flipped from last year to this year. It's not even close how different it is.
No, they're but I think that they will figure it out. They will be okay. They're not going to probably win the division that we saw last year, but they'll figure it out. For me, St. Louis and Minnesota, only one of those teams can get in. So who turns it around first? In my opinion, I don't think both those two teams are going to be able to turn this around and get in. If anybody does, I think it's one of them. So I think you got to look at each other and try to figure this out. Who's going to get it first?
Yeah. Well, Rupper, have a happy Halloween. Do you get a lot of kids trick-or-treating at your place?
No, I'm very disappointed in it. I buy the candy regardless, just in case. You got to be prepared. And then we usually just get like 2 groups. So you get like a group of 5, maybe a group of 4. And that's it. I don't know. I don't know why. It's like, I think that the kids are so spoiled now. They just want like the driveways that are really close to each other. And like my driveway's on one side of my house, the neighbor's driveway's on the other side of their house. Like, it's not like you're not going volume in my development. So we get forgotten about.
Wow. Well, I kind of live on a somewhat of a corner lot, but yeah, I'm definitely in suburbia. We get close to 200 kids. And
I would love that.
I love the outfits. And I set it out. My wife asked me, like, I don't organize a lot of things, but Halloween's my thing. I'm a full chocolate bar guy, and I set up my table, and the kids get to pick which one they want. I probably have 15 different bars, but I keep track of
that too. I love that stuff.
Yeah, and the bars that aren't popular, they're out. They get out of the rotation because I'm like, I got to give the kids what they want, and then they keep coming back because I just love seeing how excited they are, and just seeing it. I remember Halloween. Like I love trick or treating as a kid, man. Like. It is the greatest invention when you think about it. So wait a second. I get to dress up and run around the neighborhood and get free candy. Like who came up with this idea? It's glorious. It's glorious. And by the way, to anybody out there, if a teenager comes to your house and they're trick-or-treating, don't make them feel bad. I don't understand. Like we all know it as adults. We get jaded quickly. Let a teenager be a teenager, right? Come in. And usually the older ones or the later ones, I'm like, great, here, boys. I count my bars. It's 8:30 now. I'll be giving them 2 because I don't eat them, right? And I'm like, hey, you guys have a great day because you're trick-or-treating, you're not getting in trouble. And you know what? We only have a short window to enjoy life. So shout out to all the teenagers. Let them have fun.
Yeah, be respectful teenagers, but be respectful back to them. Give them the candy. Let them enjoy it.
100%. Rupper, we will chat with you in a week, my man. Have a good one.
Bye.
That's the rundown brought to you by Bet365.
Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.